was a normal evening in Ridgewood, a peaceful suburb where nothing ever seemed to happen. But on this night, everything changed. Emma Jones was walking her dog as she did every evening. She greeted Mrs. Henderson, her elderly neighbor, who was always sitting on her porch. But tonight, there was something different about Mrs. Henderson's gaze. Emma's dog, Max, pulled toward a house at the end of the street, the old Miller residence. It had been abandoned for years after Mr. Miller passed away. But now, lights were flickering inside. She hesitated for a moment, her heart racing. Had someone finally moved in? Or was something else happening? Against her better judgment, Emma walked up the path to the house. The front door was slightly open, creaking as the wind pushed it back and forth. As Emma stepped inside, the air was thick, damp. The faint sound of a clock ticking echoed through the house. She called out, "Hello? Is anyone here?" Her heart pounded. She noticed something strange on the floor, a trail of muddy footprints leading toward the living room. The trail led to the living room. There, in the middle of the room, stood a figure, its back turned to her. The flickering light cast eerie shadows on the walls. Emma gasped. It was Mrs. Henderson, the woman who had been sitting on her porch just moments ago. They found him. They found what he did. Emma stepped closer, confused and frightened. What was Mrs. Henderson talking about? She looked down at the trapdoor in the floor. It was half open, revealing a dark staircase leading to the basement. As they descended into the basement, the smell of mildew and something far worse hit Emma's nose. In the corner, covered in dust and old furniture, was an old trunk. Mrs. Henderson pointed at it. Inside, she found something unimaginable. Old, weathered photographs, yellowed with time. Each one showed a different face. Some were smiling, others looked terrified. And then, she saw him, Mr. Miller, the old man who had lived there. But that wasn't the only thing in the trunk. Hidden beneath the photos was something far worse. Old, blood-stained tools. A diary. The secrets of Ridgewood, buried for decades. The diary detailed horrific confessions. Mr. Miller had been responsible for a series of disappearances in the 1960s. Young men and women who were never found. He had used this house as his hunting ground. The town had forgotten, but Mrs. Henderson hadn't. She had been his accomplice. Emma realized too late. She was in danger. Mrs. Henderson had never intended to tell the truth. She had lured Emma in, just as she had done to others. Ridgewood wasn't as peaceful as it seemed. Sometimes, the darkest secrets hide in the most unsuspecting places. And once you find them, there's no going back. Some doors are meant to stay closed. Subscribe for more mysteries, where the truth is always more than it seems.